Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back again with another video. Today we're going to be using a couple of stamp sets from Pretty Pink Posh, including the Birthday Friends Birthday Scene, and then later on I'm going to bring in the Fox Friends. So I am working on Canson watercolor paper. I wanted to do kind of a soft watercolor background, and so I put that in my Mini Misty. I'm going to go ahead and stamp an intense black ink from Simon Says Stamp. The reason that I am using this particular ink is because it is waterproof, but it is also Copic safe. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down. I did end up stamping it twice because I am stamping on watercolor paper. I needed masks for the two ends, and so I'm just kind of lazy masking. I picked two, I think this was the Post-it note tape, and I'm just covering the ends that I actually need to mask. I'm going to trim out just the portions that I need, so the outside edges. And then I'm going to stamp, there's two girls, two boys in the stamp set for the Birthday Friends. And I picked the two that were holding something. So she's got a little cake, he's got a little gift, just to kind of fill out the whole scene there. It does, because the girl is a little bit bigger than the boy, it does make my sentiment off center. But I'm going to worry about distracting from that at the end of the card. Like I said, I wanted to do a watercolor card. I was too lazy to mask. If you were in the mood to do that, you would use like a liquid Misket, something, or what are those other ones? Molotov pens. And then you could just trace the images you wanted to mask before you put your water down. There's a lot going on in these two little stamps, and I was not taking the time to do all that. So I'm just trying to be really careful. I'm using a smaller brush. It's a 2-inch or a number 2 round brush from the Silver Brush Company. And right now I'm just painting on clean water. Just so I know where the color is going to go. I'm going to use Salty Ocean and Peacock Feathers and Distress Oxides. The reason I chose oxides is because they are a little bit softer. And I'm just going to drop that in right into the area that's already wet. Right now I have a very small area that's already wet. Just because I'm going to switch to a bigger brush to kind of extend that out, but I needed to use the tiny one to get in kind of all of the nooks and crannies. So now I'm going to switch over to a number 8 round brush to put down even more clean water. I'm not going to start where the pigment is. I'm going to start where my paper is clean and dry, and then take that clean water to the area that's wet. This is going to help to keep from dragging the color all over the place and let the color flow within the water kind of organically. Once I have that extra water down, then I can just add as much or as little pigment as I want. Originally, I started with the Salty Ocean on top and the Peacock Feathers on bottom. I'm not going to keep them that way. I just wanted to make sure I was going to be able to see some of each color on the background. So just picking that up, dropping it in until I'm happy with it. If I wanted to stretch out even further, like I didn't go around this little boy's head, I wanted there to be some more color over there and underneath his feet. I'm just going to add in more water before I move on to adding more pigment. I find it easiest to just kind of start with a centralized location. And for me, it was behind that sentiment. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't go around the balloons. Balloons are transparent. They would have some of that color showing through, so I'm not even stressing about it. I'm just going to paint right over them. And then when I do my Copic coloring, it will cover up the majority of that. You will still be able to see some of the blue behind it, but none of the colors that I chose for my balloons would be anything that wouldn't mix with the blue behind it. So like I wouldn't do an orange balloon because orange and blue make brown. Anywho, so once I was kind of just moving along, I really wanted there to be some more color up top. So just putting down more water. And because you've heard me say this like 100 times, watercolor is so versatile. You don't have to be married to it. Well, really, I mean, anything in card making you don't have to be married to, honestly. Everything's fixable, but you can just kind of keep going with this until you get a result that you are happy with. So while I was doing the outside edges, the inside dried down. I wanted to add more color there, so I just re-wet that area, and I'm checking to make sure the rest of it is wet as well before I go in and add even more color. So like I was saying, extremely versatile. You don't have to you don't just have to be like, oh, well, it looks like this and I don't like it, and so I'm just going to throw it away. Another thing that you may find is you may get water where you don't mean for it to, and then you'll have color bleeding into your clean areas. Also, this is not a big deal. Just blot it up with a paper towel. If you still have some pigment that's left over, like I did on the banner here, I'm just going to go in with some clean water, go over the area I want to blot, and then blot it again. Keep blotting it until it comes up clean. Most colors will pick up clean. And especially this one is a great example because I want to color that banner white. I also wanted to do some little spatters, but nothing was masked. So I basically did the spatters anyway, and then just paid attention to my little characters. I got like a little dot on my little boy's forehead. It was no big deal. I blotted it up right away. You can't even see it. Speaking of spattering things, I am just kind of looking for a little bit more interest, breaking up that color a little bit with some clean water being sprinkled on. And then I'm going to blot it up with a paper towel. The longer you let it sit there, the more pigment it will pull up. It also works better on darker colors. I went ahead and heat set it so that I could go in and add my, I'm doing the clean water again, just because I felt like it needed a little bit more. And then of course I'm going to go in and add my perfect pearls. The reason I added the perfect pearls after the paper was dry is because if I had any wet areas that pearlized powder landed in, it would spread. And so it wouldn't be spatters. It would be like a whole sheen of, what am I trying to say? Of shimmer? A whole sheen of shimmer? Yeah, basically is what it would be. And I didn't want that. I just wanted the usual spatters that I do. Not that couldn't be pretty. It's just not what I was going for. So once I was done with that, I waited until it was completely dry. And then you're going to see that I have some warping on my paper because I didn't tape it down and I used a lot of water. So a lot of people ask, how do I fix this? I will put it in a book. If I need to fix it quickly, this is the way I do it. So I have my big shot here. I have 2 pieces of copy paper I put on the bottom and the top of my card. This is to protect it from anything that might be on my plastic pieces. And then I'm going to run it through my big shot a bunch of times until it comes out relatively flat. Here you can see it is relatively flat. There's still a little bit of a bow in the paper. In order to fix that, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm just going to keep running it through there. First I did it on the front side, this time I'm doing it on the back side, and now my paper is almost completely flat, which means I can get started on the Copic coloring. I think these sets from Pretty Pink Posh are just adorable. Everybody needs birthday cards. So they're great. This one in the center is a smaller, it's a 3x4 stamp set, but it's perfect. Like you stamp it down one time, color your little cutie pie animals, and then you're done. I decided to add in the little people so it would be like a full party, but you don't have to. Same thing being said for the little people stamp set. It's super cute. It's got a lot going on in there. It's got balloons and cakes and party hats. And so I just really, really loved them. I was totally drawn to them. So for the banner, I'm coloring the bunny and the banner white. I added just the shadows. Make sure you want to leave some white areas when you're coloring objects white. So for the banner, I just did the left and right hand side. For the bunny, his belly, his back foot, his back ear, those are all going to be darker areas. So I gotta warn you, I'm not really gonna talk so much about the Copic coloring because I have a story. Thankfully, you guys don't usually mind my stories. So at the end of this video, there's a little 3-minute snippet of my son painting this image for my mom's birthday. Oh my gosh. Okay. First things first. My mom wanted me to tell you thank you for all of the birthday wishes. She was like a little panicked. She was like, I can't even tell them thank you for all the birthday wishes, and everybody was so nice. So I told her I would make mention in my next video. She's very appreciative of her birthday wishes and all of the nice, wonderful things that you guys said, as am I. I was thrilled. You were so receptive to the video and that you, I guess, appreciate the realness and my approach to, card making, I guess. Not even just, the coloring or the painting or any of those things, but me as a person. And so I am extremely grateful for all of you and for your kindness. So thank you very, very much for sharing your stories with me and letting me share mine with you. So, okay. At the end of this video, there's a 3-minute clip of my son painting this image for my mom's birthday. Because we were getting together for my mom's birthday. I talked to my sisters, we made plans, and I was like, I'll make the cake. My mom always makes sure she has a cake for us when it's our birthdays. I know we're one of those families who we're very blessed, but I guess some people think that it's strange that at 30 something years old, I still get together with my family for every single birthday that I have. I do. I love it. I'm not sorry that I have the opportunity to see my family for every one of their birthdays. I'm very grateful for that. So anyway, she always makes sure she gets us cake. I'm making the cake. My mom loves coconut. So I find this recipe on Pinterest because, that's where I go to for recipes now. And I need to get her... I have 3 things that I need to get. I need to get her a gift card. I need to get her, which is at a nail place in town, like in the town I live in. And then in the next town over, I needed to go to the store to buy her it's like, what are they called? Willow people. And they're totally adorable, and they have all these different ones, and I wanted to buy her the grandmother one from my son. So I had to go there, and then I also need to go to the grocery store. So my husband, wonderful man that he is like, I'll go to the nail place and get the gift card, since it's the opposite way of where you're going, which is fantastic. Thank you. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go to the store to get the Willow person, and then on my way back, I'll hit in my area, the grocery store that we have is Giant Eagle. So I'm like, I'll hit the Giant Eagle in Strongsville. So that's my game plan. Except the Giant Eagle there is enormous. It's like one of the Market District ones. It's huge there, and I knew it was huge, but I had really never been in it. I figured that it would be a little bit more difficult to find the things that I regularly needed going in there, but I wasn't looking for things that I regularly needed. This is what I needed to make this cake. It's very, very simple, and by the way, was totally delicious. I needed white cake mix. I needed a can of sweetened condensed milk. I needed a can of cream of coconut. I needed a container of whipped cream, and I needed, or Cool Whip, and I needed, I'm missing something. Oh, sweetened shredded coconut. This is all I needed to make this cake. So I walk into the Giant Eagle. I walk into the produce section. It's enormous. I swear, I walked like 4 miles. I was in there for 30 minutes. Anyway, so I'm walking around. I'm looking for the cake aisle because I figured that's going to be the majority of the things that I need. I find that with relative ease. And so I find, basically what was in there was the cake mix, the sweetened condensed milk, and is that it? Nope. I feel like, and the coconut. Why do I keep forgetting the coconut? It was coconut cake, for God's sake. Anyway, so I find that I have to hunt down the Cool Whip, and then I cannot find this cream of coconut. I cannot find it anywhere. So, I do a little bit of research. I find that, most of the time it is kept by the margarita mix, the cream of coconut in the can. So I'm walking all around this grocery store. I can't find their liquor section. I'm not a big drinker. I don't really know where anybody's liquor section is, honestly, but I certainly cannot find theirs. So finally I have to stop and ask a guy, and he says, this is serious. It's past the deli, past the restaurant, past the bar, past the Starbucks. I'm still in the same grocery store, guys. Like, this is all in one grocery store. So I start heading that way. I pass the deli, pass the restaurant. I can see the section where they keep the liquor, and I find myself like in this bar. I have a cart, by the way. I have a cart with my items in it. It's like a mini cart, not a full-size cart, but it's a cart nonetheless. So I find myself in this bar. There's like people sitting at like two tops and people sitting at the bar. And I'm like, okay, I like literally, I pushed my grocery store cart right into the middle of this bar. Can I get out on the other side? Or am I going to have to like find a way to bust a Yui? So I see that there is like a railing. So I'm like, okay, great. I can get out of here. It's not a dead end. So I get to that area and it is not a dead end. I can in fact get out, but it's stairs. Like, you have carts. Why did you put stairs in the middle of this grocery store? So I end up, no joke, carrying, like lifting. I'm not a large woman. My husband teases me all the time. I have no upper body strength. And I really don't. It's not a lie. I mean, he teases me, but it's true. So anyway, I have to pick up, thank God it was a mini cart, because if it was a full size cart, I never would have been able to lift it. I have to pick it up entirely and carry it down like 3 stairs. So now I'm like mildly sweating because I don't really work out. Remember how we talked about that hip hop abs? Pfft, have not kept up with that. Anyway, so now I'm finally in the liquor section. I see beer, I see wine, and that's all I see. I'm like, this is the most pretentious grocery store ever. Like, I passed a restaurant, a bar, and a Starbucks, and all I can find is beer and liquor. What is going on here? So I walk all around. I can't find it. I go to leave. Thankfully, I found the ramp on my way out, so I didn't have to carry it back up the stairs. So then I go back. I walk all over the grocery store. I still can't find it. I finally find somebody who works there, and I say, I'm looking for cream of coconut. And she was like, yep, come with me. It's right over here with the ethnic food. And she takes me to the coconut milk. And I should have known better. It's not her fault. Cream of coconut is probably something that is not very common. But nonetheless, it was not what I was looking for. So, she asks another employee, and he was like, no. And I tell them, they said it's typically kept in the liquor section, but I cannot find it in the liquor section. And he was like, well, there should be somebody over there working. I'm like, I saw no people, dude. It was deserted over there. There was no employees. And he was like, well, there should be, make sure you just walk in this little room on the left-hand side, which I guess is where they keep the highbrow liquor. Like, I mean, if you couldn't get highbrow liquor at the restaurant, bar, whatever. So I walk all the way over there, past the deli, past the restaurant, past the bar, to the liquor section. And I go into this little closet room, and I walk in, and I said, I am looking for cream of coconut. It's typically kept by the margaritas. And this girl's like, here, hands me a can. I was like, I could have hugged her. I was so excited just to get my can of cream of coconut from this ridiculous grocery store that I'm never going to go in again. I'm never going to go in there. Like, why? I don't need the Starbucks restaurant. I don't need any of that stuff. None of it. So anyway, and my mom's going to listen to this and be like, you shouldn't have done that. It was fine. You could have just like picked cake out of a, dumpster, and I would have loved it, which is probably true. I mean, she wouldn't have eaten it, but she would have been like, thought that counts. But anyway, the cake did come out very good. It was very easy to make. I would definitely recommend looking for it's called coconut poke cake. So look that up. Anywho, so now that I talked all the way through that cope of coloring, basically I just colored it the same way that I do everything else. And if this is the first video that you're ever watching, I would encourage you to check out some of the other cope of coloring videos. I am typically much better at describing what I'm doing. This time I was just venting about my pretentious grocery store situation. So put some ground in, and then I was really feeling my inner Kay Miller. I don't know if you're familiar with Kay Miller. If you're not, you should be. She's an incredibly talented card designer. And Kay usually does these like super like watercolor backgrounds or distressing backgrounds. And then she usually uses die cuts. But I didn't have the die cuts for these stamps. So I'm going to fake it because that's what I like to do. So basically, I'm using a white gel pen to outline all of my images. I will tell you, though, you should not do this if you don't have a black pen on hand to kind of go over the other lines. I re-outline everything anyway, so this is no big for me. But even with as much as I do like the fine line work in my card making, there were still some areas where I went over the black lines, or I changed the thickness of the black lines because I got a little too heavy-handed with my white. But it totally did give me the look that I was looking for. It broke it up from the background. It gave it kind of like that die cut look. And then I did, again, you can see, go back in and re-outline everything because I love a bold black outline, and especially with bright colors. I've got like a sea of colors going on in this card, and that makes me happy. So while I really love the way the coloring in the background and everything came out, the fact that my sentiment is not centered was kind of irking me a little bit. So in order to fix that, I pulled out the Foxy Friend set, which is another 3x4 set, which is completely adorable. Little foxes, totally love it. And this one says, "You're the best." And I thought that it would pair perfectly with the happy birthday. So I actually stamped it and heat embossed it. I'm working on Black Simon Says cardstock. And I heat embossed this twice because one of them I cut the "your" from and one of them I cut the "best" from. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop those up on the left-hand side. Basically what I'm trying to do here, guys, is offset the weight of the right-hand side with making it a little bit more even on the left, even though there's no way for me to center this sentiment. It's not going to happen. It's the way that it's stamped. But I can kind of trick your eye into thinking that it's more even by adding more things to the left. So I popped those up. Another way that I am going to kind of distract from that not centered sentiment is I did like a trail of clear sequins. These are also from Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm using my quick sticks. I don't usually use my quick sticks. I usually use my finger. But with that many sequins, I didn't want to have to keep with the sticky fingers. So I put all those down. I topped them off with just a dot of glossy accents because I like the way that holds my sequins on. And then while I had the glossy accents down, I actually added a layer to my balloons to make them shiny. I'm going to go back in with my clear Wink Estella and just kind of hit any of the party accessories. So the cake, the present, the hats, all of that stuff. And then that is the whole card. So thank you so much for joining me. This, you'll notice, okay, so that there's volume on this part. And I'm going to let you just listen to it and watch my sweet little baby. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will catch you on the next video.
So we
Bye.
can paint. We're painting it red.
Just red? No other colors?
Just blue too. And red.
Red and blue?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, God.
Sorry, Mama.
I know it was an accident, baby, but you gotta be careful. You can't push that hard, okay? Blue bear?
Cause some blue, well, some berries are blue.
That bear is. Blue bunnies. Give me the lid. Thank you. Red balloons, huh? Bet Janana loves it.
I'm painting the whole thing red.
That's... how come?
I don't know.
You just wanna? It's okay, you can rinse it in the other one. If you mix yellow and green together, or yellow and blue together, what do you get?
I don't know. Green.
Yeah. If you mix yellow and red together, what do you get?
Yellow.
No, you started with yellow. Yellow and red makes what?
Where's red? Orange.
Orange. Yes, very good job.